So one of the great things here about Crown Point Schools is looking at the many great opportunities that we have in our community. We have an unbelievably supportive community, from Cedar Lake to Crown Point to Winfield, and the things that our communities allow us to do, participate with us as we provide opportunities for our kids. That allows us then to have great educational experiences for our kids. Those of you who have had children come through Crown Point Schools, you know that it doesn't matter which level you're at, elementary, middle, or high school, the programs, the things that are available to our kids, I'm going to tell you, are second to none. I've been around the state, been in different areas, talked with a lot of different people, and I can tell you that if you put our programs and the offerings that we have for kids, and that's just not looking at kids that want to go on to the Ivy League schools, we have that for them. Kids that want to be in career classes and go right into the workforce, we have that for them. The full spectrum of needs is being met here. And the other part of that is great facilities. And coming into Crown Point Schools, one of the things that as I was meeting with the board and kind of touring the district, we pulled up to Taft and they're like, we need a new middle school. And I said, well, let's do it. Let's get a new middle school. And I found an article that someone presented to me, and it was in 1970s, and it said the greatest challenge for the school board this year will be coming up with a solution for Taft Middle School. And you know what? It's 2021, and we started doing it. In 2022, if you drive out east of 65, it's unbelievable what's taking place out there. So we appreciate our board's support and their vision as well. But as we started looking at that, we realized with the way our community is growing, we need to really look at all of our facilities and making sure that we're ready for the growth that's coming, and hopefully we can get there without having to put up modulars or do anything along those lines. So we partnered with a couple of great partners. I know Jim Thompson is here from Gibraltar, and Gibraltar staff, if you guys would stand as well so we can recognize you guys. Very good, thank you guys. And that's Chris Kingery and Ray Thompson that are with him. And then also our other partners in this set of projects is Skillman Organization, and Dion Caceres is here, and then Scott and Snimis as well. And Scott is responsible for everything you're going to see here today at the high school. So thank you. So as we began this process, right as I was coming into Crown Point Schools, just celebrated being here 2 years just this week. So it's exciting times for my wife and I to be here. Our family, we appreciate being here in Crown Point community. Feel like we really found a gem of a place to be, and appreciate the community so much. Winfield was going through a total I don't even want to say it's a remodel. We blew that place up and added classrooms and added a gymnasium and enlarged things and made them better. And after doing that, as we started to look at this and we knew we needed to do a new middle school, we started looking at our elementary schools. And so every elementary school is going to be touched throughout this process. Winfield, Timothy Ball, MacArthur, and Solon Robinson will all have this major revision. You can see the boards in the back of the room kind of giving you an idea of what they're going to look like once they're done. We're adding classrooms to those, adding new gyms, totally changing the look of those facilities. And then going to our next level, so we've got Eisenhower, Jerry Ross. They'll be getting new classrooms and kind of updating some things there. And then Lake Street will have significant remodeling that takes place within the building. We may or may not be adding a classroom or two there, but with the goal in all of our elementary buildings of getting to the point where they have new or larger gymnasium spaces, which then gives us larger media spaces, larger cafeterias, STEM labs for our kids to be able to start taking advantage of that, with the goal then of having every elementary be at 700 students with a comfortable capacity with room to grow from there. Then at our middle school, Taft is going up, as I mentioned, just right at 500,000 square feet. We're looking at a $70 million investment going in out there. Going to be a state-of-the-art facility, auditorium, great classroom spaces. So then with that, we're looking at Wheeler. We want to make sure that we're providing an equitable experience at both of our middle schools. So at Wheeler, we'll be expanding the cafeteria there, adding a auditorium. You'll have another 700-seat auditorium there to match what's going on at Taft. And then the Learning Center, if you're familiar with that campus, will be absorbed into into Wheeler as well. So it'll all become one facility. So great new STEM places. Looking forward to those opportunities. And then on the campus of Wheeler, Colonel Wheeler Middle School, we're actually in a partnership with the city of Crown Point here. And we're going to be building a new building over there that will be a partnership between the two of us, providing some great opportunities for locker room spaces for Bulldog Park as we continue to look at. Our city does an amazing job with all the things that go on at Bulldog Park, but increasing the opportunities there. And then the bottom level will be used by us. And that's through a great partnership that we're able to not allocate any new dollars, but dollars that we were going to spend, dollars that the city had as well, and being able to work together. So we appreciate the city with that opportunity as well. Also then looking at what's going to happen at the current Taft campus. So we're going to use the north end of that building and make that into an alternative ed center. The alternative ed center here, I'm not sure that a lot of people realize, when we talk about the full spectrum and providing that for all of our kids from their learning, we're talking pre-K all the way through students who are up to 22 years of age. So in our elementary buildings, we're adding preschool rooms, and we'll have up to 2 sections of preschool in all those rooms eventually. And then at our alternative ed center, we will have our 18 to 22-year-old program for those students who continue to have more needs. And after graduation, for most students, we continue to provide those services to help those students get to where they need to be as well. That building will also then contain our CAPS program, which is our credit acceleration program. You can imagine here in this building of 3,000 students, Russ Marcinek, our high school principal here, and his staff do a great job of providing smaller groups, smaller communities throughout this building to make it feel much smaller than it actually is. But this building isn't meant for everybody. And so we provide that alternative opportunity for kids who just, the regular school day isn't for them. And we realize we have kids. I know there are some of you in this room who you've had kids that have gone through that program, and it's been a great opportunity for them as well. So we're continuing to really look for how do we continue to provide that. So those 2 programs will be housed over there. And then behind, if you go down Main Street, the 6th grade wing of Taft right now runs parallel with Main Street. We're putting in a new administrative center there that will have our board rooms where we can host events like this. Really excited to bring our administrative district-wide team from 3 different buildings to come into one to really be able to have the communication, the collaboration that we need there, and just a great opportunity. So in looking at all of this, then we come here to the high school, and I'm so pleased that you guys were here. I was talking with one of the custodians a couple nights ago here, and they said, well, I don't know what this is going on in here. And so I started telling them a little bit, and they're like, do you understand that we're under construction, right? And I was like, yeah, it's going to be good. And they're like, so you're okay with bringing people in when the building looks like this? And I said, yes, we want them to see how we're doing this. So they do an amazing job each and every day, working with the Skillman team, making sure that while $60+ million worth of additions and renovations are happening in this building, that school continues to go on and kids continue to have great opportunities here. Also with that, we're going to be doing some work on the athletic facilities, the back 40 as they're called out here, and making some great improvements there. So here at the high school though, we'll be adding 38 classrooms. Back over here on the southeast corner by our tennis courts is going up right now. You can see the foundation work is in, the walls are in. The cafeteria here, we're going to move the capacity here from 3,000 to 3,600. So one of the keys is how do you feed those additional kids as we grow? And we're not going up to 600 like next year. We hope that will continue to be an ongoing process over the next 5 to 10 years. This wall will be blown out, and the cafeteria will actually go back this direction. We have a courtyard here that was a neat concept when the school was built 20 or more years ago, but with real estate being a prime aspect of this building, we're going to fill that in and move some offices, make a large group instruction room there, add some hallways upstairs so you can have more access for kids to move around throughout the building. And then we'll just, on the northwest side over here, we're adding some additional stuff for our fine arts department, increasing the building over there as we continue to grow. One of the things that I love so much about Crown Point High School is we're not just athletics, we're not just music, we're not just looking at the foreign languages and all the different clubs that are going on. It's not just about academics, but it's really all of this coming together and wrapping our arms around that. Then on the backside over here on the southwest side, we're adding a new physical education area that will be our new weight room, and then also a field turf area for a lot of work there in the area of speed development, some different things there. We currently in our weight room, we offer personal conditioning classes every hour of the day. That thing is packed with up to 120 students and is maxed out beyond maxed out, and we're turning kids away. So a great opportunity there to continue to increase those opportunities for our kids. So really excited about all of those things. But the best part about that for you that are community members is to know that we're doing all of this. We didn't have to do a referendum. We didn't have to raise taxes. We're able to do this because of wise fiscal management. Our school board has worked very well with our administrative team over the last 10, 15 years to put us in this place that while we're doing all of this, we also then are able to give our teachers raises like they've never seen. We continue to lead our area in the state with our salary packages we're able to put together, and just really believe that this is a destination place to be. And so with that, we like to say that our school district is your destination, and we really believe that as we do that. But part of that is looking at our finances. How do we get to where we need to be? How do we make sure that we're not spending more than we should be? So at this time, I'd like to introduce to you Matt Reese. Matt is our financial consultant, and he works with Raymond James, and then in partnership with them works for us. And he's here in our district 3 days a week, and we continue to try and get additional days out of him. But he does an amazing job for us. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Matt, and he'll talk to us about finances.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to see everybody here today. This is really exciting for me to be back in the community and a chance to tell you what's going on here in Crown Point with our finances. All right, so first part is managing the debt service rate. So schools are funded a little bit differently than your private accounts. We have different pots of money we have to spend from, and we raise them a little differently in each of the different categories. So specifically about the debt fund, you'll notice here that while Dr. Terrill discussed so much of the construction going on, all that is funded through debt and the issuance of bonds. You can see what our debt service tax rate was back in the mid-2010s. We're up over 80 cents for the most part. You'll notice here that in 2023, we're anticipating being about 78 cents, and we anticipate that being the same for the next 20 years through the life cycle of the bonds we just issued for all the projects that Dr. Terrill just described. So we're very excited about the fact that when Dr. Terrill says not a tax increase, it really is going back and having a tax deduction, a reduction from where we've been over the past 10 or 15 years. So we're very excited about that part of this project. It also provides us some opportunity as our assessed valuation grows. We can tack on a little bit if we need to for additional projects as they come up. I don't know how we would foresee needing additional projects with the expansion of the buildings we have, but in case that happens, we are prepared for that. The next part is how do we afford keeping the programs going that we have on an operational basis? And we have three funds that we use that from. We have the education fund, the operation fund, and then the operating referendum fund. And the way we've been able to do that is we've underspent our budget significantly the past few years. And you'll notice that we're bringing that gap together. So one of the concerns people have is, well, you're giving all these raises, you're hiring all this new staff. All we've simply done is brought our expenditures up to meet our revenues. We've not actually increased the revenues other than what the state provides us. We're still providing the same tax rate for the referendum fund. That hasn't changed. And then the state provides more money to us as we receive additional students. So as more students come in, that provides more money to the school corporation. We in turn provide that back in raises for all of our staffs, but specifically stay competitive across the region and the state. So the last few years, we've actually taken upon ourselves to bring our expenses up to meet those revenues on an ongoing basis. We're not in a situation where we need to look at reductions. We're simply adding on where we need to make sure our expenditures match our ongoing revenues. The last part is appropriate operating balances. As you can imagine, as we've been underspending our budgets, we've generated some balances. The trick in that is we don't want to spend those operating balances on ongoing expenditures, because then what happens when those one-time balances go away, you now have expenditures you can't afford. So we're spending down. Most school corporations run between 10 and 15%. We've taken a more conservative approach. We're going to stay between 15 and 20%. But to get down where we're at, you can see our balances were in the 60s. We're going to bring those down through one-time expenditures. A lot of those one-time expenditures are funding some of the construction that Dr. Terrill mentioned as well. So we've done it, set us up in a situation where we're not increasing taxes, we're spending what we're bringing in, and we're bringing our balances back down to enhance the programs here at Crown Point Community Schools, and we're very excited about that. There you go. Am I introducing Jim? Great. I'd like to now introduce our Chief Academic Officer, who talks about the important stuff that's going on, which is the education of our children, and I'm happy to introduce Mr. Jim Hardman.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's good to see all of the friendly faces that are out here that make up our community and the school corporation. I think it's important that, first of all, as a director or chief academic officer, that I recognize the partnership that we have between the community and the school. I came to Crown Point in 1996, and I've seen the growth of the community. I've seen the growth of our school corporation. I have seen things change, and I can tell you we are at a point in Crown Point, in Winfield, in Cedar Lake, that is something that I've not seen before. There is such a partnership that we are together working to educate and to help our children. I work with I guess you would say our directors, and I think as we have worked together, and that's Mark Gianfermi, you're going to hear from these after me, Mark Gianfermi, Sabrina Ramirez, and Heather Pascas. We work together to try to create an atmosphere for our students that really is an exceptional atmosphere. And it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing thing that we are trying to accomplish within the community that we serve with Crown Point Community School Corporations. And I think there are three things that that you're going to hear from the three as they come up and present. The first thing, if we can change the slide.
You've got the clicker.
Oh, didn't realize. There we go. There we go. All right. There's three things that I wanted to highlight that you're going to hear some more detail on as we go through this. The first thing is that our goal is really to enhance each child's well-being throughout the school corporation, and that well-being is their safety within the school, their emotional strength, their mental health. It is about creating people that are good people, that are good community, that will become good community members. We are really focused on trying to enhance every child's well-being in the school corporation. I see this as a partnership with families, with parents. You know, as you maybe have engaged with maybe some of our administrators, we really are about trying to listen and to hear and to focus on what the needs of the parents and the families are, so that we can best address and support the education of the child. So when we think about every child and thinking about their individual well-being, we know there are uniquenesses within the school corporation. We know there are differences, and we want to be able to work with families and parents to be able to address and really support the well-being of every child. The second thing that wanted to point out is about our ability or desire to improve the learning conditions for all of our children. You know, as we've just heard, that with the facilities and with the finances, all of that is really drawn together so that we can improve the learning conditions of our children. Our desire is to provide the best opportunity for learning within the school corporation. You know, my desire is that we are able to create students that will be able to process and think and problems. And you've heard all of these things. I mean, this is what the nation is talking about. This is what the state is talking about. We want we want children to be able to grow and develop so that they can be successful within their communities, within the workforce, being ready for the next step when they leave Crown Point High School and move on into post-secondary, whatever those things are. But we want to have the conditions here that are in the classroom, that are in the buildings, that are with programming, so that every child will have an opportunity to touch what they need to touch and have the skills to be able to be successful. The last thing I think that is important for us is that we really want to inspire. All of us want to inspire our children. When I say all, I mean from the district level to the building level to our directors and the supports that we have. It really is to inspire students. And there's really two ways that we want to inspire. We want to inspire our children to care. We want to inspire our children to love others and think about others. We want to be able to have children think about others more than themselves. And when you think about the different types of things that happen in the district at the different schools and supporting the types of opportunities to help families out, to help the community out, at Crown Point High School with a community service, there are tremendous ways that we want students to be able to care about others. And the other thing is, personally, we want to help them dream. We want them to have aspirations, and we desire to be able to help them to meet those aspirations. So as we continue to develop Crown Point Community School Corporation from the aspect of academic, social, emotional well-being, those are the things that we're trying to accomplish. Care, and we want you to dream. That's the goal. That's what we're working with, partnering with our families within the communities of Cedar Lake, Crown Point, and Winfield. It's my pleasure at this point in time to introduce a Director of Secondary Education, and Mark, it's a pleasure working with you, and also I better take this time to say also Sabrina and Heather, because I won't have that opportunity to say that once Mark is done. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, and I'm going to add to Jim's, it's great seeing all these friendly faces, to familiar faces. I look over the crowd, and there's so many of you that I have worked with, not only as parents with your kids, but also just helping our schools out and with the programming. So we do appreciate community coming out to an event like this, and we thank Dr. Terrill kind of bringing this back, because these are so important so that we can build new partnerships, and then we can continue to do great things for our kids. So let's dive into secondary education a little bit. The first thing you think about with secondary education is a day kind of around late May or early June where kids are in red caps and gowns and they're going across that stage and they're picking up that diploma. That is our end game, and we want our kids all to make it there. We want to make it there with all of their dreams and pursuits being accomplished. So the state has now just kind of tricked us up a little bit, though, because back in the day, we all got our credits, we maybe passed a standardized test, and then we got our diploma. Well, now they've added some new requirements, some demonstration of employability skills, and also some readiness in competencies for post-secondary. So as we prepared our kids to meet these additional requirements, we felt pretty good. We've always been really strong academic. We offer 22 AP courses. We have 37 dual credit courses that you can take here at Crown Point High School. We had a community service requirement for all our students, so they were getting in the community, being part of that. We have an internship program where hundreds of students are involved, getting out, working in local businesses. So we really felt that we could address what the kids needed to get this new graduation requirement. But one of the areas that we really wanted to improve on was our career and technical education area. So we have partnerships with so many different areas and colleges, and a lot of those 37 dual credits land in our career and technical education areas. Part of the construction, when you go around, if you're going around your tour, is going to reflect our commitment to opening up spaces and resources for these areas so kids can really thrive in these areas. So you'll see an additional lab for bigger spaces for engineering and robotics. You'll see there's plans for advancements in culinary arts and the FACS department. We also house our education. We're adding additional labs in our science areas so that we can include more medical pathways that we can work on. And we're really excited about that piece, as we have a lot of local hospitals around that we want to get our kids moving into. Our fine arts department will benefit from the construction as well. So we really want to emphasize being great at that traditional academic excellence that we've always had here at Crown Point High School, but we also want to expand those career and technical education opportunities so our students are ready for going out into that workforce and being ready for what they're expected to do. And this is being driven not only by us, but by the state. And some of our local partners are really going to help us with that, as we talk about IUN being here and BNW. So they're really jumping on this as well and working with the schools to make sure that kids are prepared for that. So let's jump into how we are even including our middle school in this career and technical education kind of push for our kids. For the first time, all of our 8th graders completed a college and career course, which was worth a high school credit for them. In the past, we've always given advanced students an opportunity to get a high school credit. Now, every single student that went through our middle school had an opportunity to walk in here with a high school credit, which I think is part of our including every student and supporting every student motto that we are working very hard to put into place. So when you look at our middle schools and our high schools, we really are trying to support every student and support their pursuits. Our middle schools have really come together to align so that not only the curriculum and instruction and programming practices are together, but they have also moved on to create what we call the Bulldog Blueprint. And this is our core values. A lot of times, our community members, our parents are, what are you guys really trying to teach our kids? And I love the way some of our middle school people present this to our middle school students. They just say, repeat after me, I'm respectful, I'm responsible, I'm hardworking, I'm kind. I'm a bulldog, now go make it a great day to be a bulldog. I think that's something all of us as parents and community members can get behind. And that's, you know, if you remember being a middle schooler or having one, special age, special people that work with them, and we really appreciate everything that they're doing with our kids there. But we are trying to prepare them to enter into high school smoothly and have an idea of what they want to do. So that's why we are working so closely with the high school. You know, at the high school, whoops, I don't want to go too far. At the high school, we've had for over a decade the portrait of a Crown Point grad. And again, very similar. It's been around longer than the Bulldog Blueprint, but it's the same thing. These are our core values. And to summarize this, we could peel back each one of these and tell you what we work with the kids with, but we don't have time for that. So in summary, this is about being engaged in school. We have great academics. We have awesome athletic programs, clubs, and fine arts programs here. We emphasize to our kids, be engaged. So brilliantly, our current administration said, you know, these are great, but it's not anything unless there's that engagement. So they kind of shifted them around a little bit. They put college and career together and added connection. And what that's all about is putting it into action, being engaged with the values. And they're not only on the screen, they hang on those banners every day for everybody to see when they walk in here. And our high school administration does a great job of emphasizing that with our kids, because it's a lot more than just kids coming through and saying, hey, we got great numbers, you know, our kids, we beat the state average on the SAT. That's not what it's about. It's about people. It's about students. It's about supporting those students and supporting their pursuits. And it's about supporting every single student. So we continue to try to expand our programming. I think, as Dr. Terrill was alluding to, and then when you go around a tour and see the building, we're kind of putting our money where our mouth is by creating those spaces and getting those resources and gearing up in those programs so that we are addressing every single student. Again, it's a great community to work in. I always tell new teachers that come in here or new people that come to our school district that, you know, if you can't teach here, it's time to look for another profession, because we have a community that values education, we have families that value education, and most importantly, whether you have kids that come through or not or believe this, we have students that value it. They come in here and they have high expectations for us. And thankfully, for me, I work with a great bunch of administrators, and that goes for the elementary, middle school, and the secondary, that do a great job, great teachers and great staff. that understand what the expectation is of us. And I think they come in every day and they try to do that for our kids. So, with that being said, I have the privilege of introducing my friend and colleague for many years now, the Director of Elementary Education, Sabrina Ramirez.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do to support our families and our community. I would like to just take a few minutes this morning to paint a picture of what elementary teaching and learning looks like in Crown Point schools. And as we talk about what this looks like, we are really talking about engaged learners. We want our 3,500 elementary students to be engaged every day. A heavy focus of ours over the past 2 years has been on curriculum adoption and making sure that our students are engaged, that there is access for all students, and that we are developing critical thinkers and strategic learners. So we really have invested a lot of time and energy into selecting the best resources to make sure that our students are going to walk across that stage when they are in high school and receive their diploma and be prepared for whatever their post-secondary decisions are. In order to be able to do this, professional development has been at the crux of what our teachers need in order to be able to support their ongoing focus on supporting every aspect of students. And what we do here in Crown Point is, whether we are bringing in trainers from outside to professionally develop our teachers, we want to make sure that our teachers are also growing other teachers. And so we have a Learn Academy in which our teachers teach courses that our other teachers sign up for. And this has been a really critical component of our growth as professionals, and that is something that you will see in all of our buildings, is that our teachers want to continuously grow so that they can do the best for their students, for the families, and for our community. A component of our professional development is also really focusing on aligning our grade level teams. With 7 buildings across the district, we want to make sure that we are providing an aligned curricular and extracurricular experience for our students, and so professional development really helps support this mission of ours. As we look at technology, let me go back one slide, you will see these clear touch panels all around the room today. These clear touch panels are going into all of our classrooms. We've started with Winfield last year, and all of our elementary buildings, middle school, and then high school will be receiving these. And while they look great, there is more to them than just looking good. We want to engage our students in their learning, and so we intentionally use technology from our one-to-one Chromebooks to the clear touch panels. We have amplification systems in our classrooms that are being installed, and what we want to do is make sure that students own their learning and know how valued they are, and that we are providing the best that we can for them so that they can be as successful as they can. Supporting our learners, when I think about supporting our learners, I cannot say without hesitation, I can say that teachers, staff, and our administrative team are committed to developing a love for learning in our earliest learners, and that we want this to carry through their whole educational experience. We want students to be able to have multiple opportunities to demonstrate their understanding, to receive feedback, and to be able to grow and to know that they aren't expected to understand and to be able to do something the first time, that is why we are here to work with them, side by side with them, and to teach and learn along with them. And so this is something we really want to embed from the time that they come into our classrooms until the time that they leave, because we feel that this is so invaluable to their success as adults. Another component that is critical to us is the school-home connection. We want to be in communication with our families. We want our stakeholders to be involved in our schools, visiting, volunteering, working in partnership so that we have ongoing two-way communication and that we are learning what the needs are from the community and we are adjusting accordingly. Every learner is our focus, and again, with 7 elementary buildings, we are looking to develop an aligned curricular and extracurricular experience, which is why every component of what we do, from our curriculum to our professional development to our staffing, is so crucial to building this vision of an aligned district where all of our students have a similar experience regardless of the school that they go into. They are taught by the best, they are supported by the best. Work within this team really is so critical from our elementary administrative team, and it is a true privilege for me to be able to work with this team. We have experienced principals throughout our district who are not only committed to their school community, but to the district vision for alignment and for being there every day for every student. A great addition to our administrative team, last year we were able to add 4 assistant principals, with 1 being designated in one building and then 3 shared amongst the other 6. This year, we have really the fortunate addition of having a designated assistant principal in each of our elementary buildings. And this is a huge opportunity for us because the assistant principals will not only support all of our stakeholders, but they work in partnership with our principals to be the instructional leaders and to develop this collaborative team that is going to project us forward into the future of what education is for our students. Another key component at the elementary level that we were able to add in last year are our English language arts and math specialists. These are teachers who work to serve the elementary community. They provide professional development. They go into classrooms and model. They are looking at data and they are analyzing it to support teachers so that they can in turn adjust their teaching and learning in the classroom. So they are really critical to the role that we have in educating our students. Teachers and staff, nothing that any of us are describing would be possible without our teachers and staff. And I think everybody in this room would say that we are incredibly blessed to have dedicated teachers who are truly committed to their craft. When I think about our teachers and staff at any level, we really want to make sure that our teachers and staff know our students, and they know our students on a personal level. They are invested in the whole child, and that is what I think you will see every day in any elementary, in our middle schools, as well as in our high school. So I hope this paints a little bit of a picture of what elementary teaching and learning looks like, and I just thank you for your commitment to our community and to your involvement in our schools. As we think about every learner, it is my pleasure to be able to introduce Heather Paskus, the Director of Exceptional Education, who is also another invaluable member of our district team, as well as the success of all students. So, thank you, Heather.
Good morning. It's my honor to stand in front of you all and brag on the Exceptional Education Department and all the work we've done over the past year or two. So one of the most important points I want to get across to all of you today is that we are moving beyond disability awareness. We're not about just a month of the year where we just nod our head that there are disabilities that exist. We are moving into acceptance in how we work with every one of our learners. Last summer, each of our school teams created an inclusion team that then received training through the summer and throughout the school year, led by a national consultant on best practices on how to reach and engage every learner. They then bring these trainings back to their schools and make sure their whole staff is aware of these practices. And we'll be continuing that work into this school year as well. More than ever before, students with significant disabilities are spending time in general education, and for some of our students that may not be sitting in a class all day every day. Maybe it's participating in a club after school. Maybe it's a peer buddy coming into their class and working on some general education standards. So we're really proud of our teachers and our administrators for helping us provide those experiences and exposure to our students. We have learned that kids who attend inclusive schools experience higher achievement. They have accepting and authentic friendships with kids without disabilities, and it helps with a sense of belonging not only in the school community, but in the greater community as well. A few activities we've been able to provide this year to our students is Rock Your Socks Day was in March, and we encouraged all of our staff and students to wear crazy or mismatched socks in recognition of World Down Syndrome Day. The high school started an American Sign Language Club, and through their work have gone out into some of the elementary schools and read children's books using some of the signs they learned. We also have a coffee cart program at some elementaries where students with and without disabilities are taking beverage orders from teachers and delivering those to their classrooms. This helps with peers modeling appropriate communication skills for our students with disabilities. You may also see some of our adult students over at the YMCA handing out towels, helping teach preschool swim, and helping keep the facility clean. Did it just cut out? Okay. We're able to provide these experiences for our students because of the dedication of our staff and community partnerships. So every learner is engaged and supported. We have been able to really expand our department. We've added teachers, paraprofessionals, special education coordinators, diagnosticians, behavior specialists, social workers, all to support our students who have intensive needs. We had unified sports this year. Our basketball and track teams are unified here at the high school with disabled and non-disabled students. This is a IHSAA sanctioned sports, and they compete against other high schools with those same teams. In May, we had our unified game day. We had over 100 athletes here in the field house participating with their peers in track and field events, which was really best day of the year. You may have picked up a pamphlet out front about our Bulldog Bakery. This is an exciting activity our adult students have started this year. They're making dog treats and selling them right now to staff members. We hope to expand that into the community. But our adult students are learning real-world vocational skills. They're reading a recipe, measuring, using fine motor skills to stamp out the dog treats, and then taking in orders, making change, and delivering those treats. We also provided 2 parent workshops this year. One was regarding Medicaid waivers and how our parents can use those resources to tap into more services for their children outside of school, as well as some special financial supports that they will need to know about as their students age out of school. We held our first transition fair. We hope this will become an annual event. Our students with IEPs aged 14 and over are exposed to vendors and resources for independent living, education and training, and employment. And we had over 35 vendors and community partners that attended with our families. We look forward to continuing our collaborative relationships with our parents, our families, and our schools. Thank you. The man who needs no introduction, our Chief Human Resources Officer, Art Akiwa.
Good morning, everyone. It's so exciting for me to be here. Jim Harbin alluded to coming on board in 1996. I started teaching at the old high school in 1995, and really our organization has changed dramatically. But as Chief Human Resource Officer, so has the employment landscape as well. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what some of our focus areas are to make sure that we can continue bringing on high-quality employees in all of our job areas. It's not just teachers. Something that you need to understand is that we've got in the neighborhood of, I'd say about 1,100 support staff employees, about 450 instructional staff. You can understand that balance right there. That's our big family. We've currently processed over 100 new individuals or 100 new job placements this year. So it was a very busy time for us each year in the month of July, June, July, every year. What we're trying to do, though, is help individuals feel our culture in Crown Point from the minute we make contact with them. And actually, that's the application. And we want them to understand that they're part of a family. They're part of an organization that wants them to be here, feel supported, and we want them to stay here and have a good long run with us in Crown Point Community School Corporation. We really work with all of our principals and directors to help create that feel and that contact right away. And that's just through the interview process, through the selection process and the onboarding process. Many of you may not be aware of the fact that we have a 2-week new teacher academy that exposes our teachers to what it's like to be an educator here in Crown Point. It's an exciting 2 weeks. It starts with a great breakfast coming up here on July 25th, and we really get them fired up. As we say, a kindergartner has one chance at their first day of school, one shot. They'll never get that first day back, okay? A teacher, an employee in the Crown Point Community School Corporation, they also have one first day. We want them ready as can be to knock it out of the park on day one. So it's our job to make sure that we empower them, tee them up, and get them ready to go so they can just be an incredible success right out of the gates. We want to continue to build leaders too. And we've talked about our teachers teaching teachers. We want that for not only our teachers, we want it with our custodians, our support staff, our paras, everyone. Consistent expectations is what we talk about as well. We do have high expectations. I think Mark was talking about even our students have high expectations. We want everybody to be the best they can be in all of their job positions. We talk about a destination community. The employment landscape for all employers has changed really dramatically in the last couple of years. Don't know if this is on or right now or not, but there's also a shortage of teachers, educators coming out of the pipeline right now. I can tell you that we are fortunate that we are still getting a high volume of quality candidates applying to the Crown Point Community School Corporation every year. Now we're feeling it a little bit, the shortage, but not as much as everyone else. It's because we have established over the years an incredible culture here. People want to come here and work for us to be a part of our family. And it's not just salary. I have this graphic up here. It's a combination of things. It's the package. It's the package. And that's what we want all of our folks to feel. We could never have done this without superb employees, excellent leaders. Probably most important, as I tell all of our teachers when I meet with them, you're getting ready to enjoy a teaching experience where you're going to have one of the most supportive communities you could ever wish for as an educator. You'll never find a community. I'll put Crown Point up there with that anywhere in the United States. Thank you all for supporting all of our employees and what we do here. We can't do it without you. Just thank you so much. And I think I kept that brief. Brooke, how did I do? All right, next up, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time, is our wonderful and amazing Director of Communications, Brooke Alvin.
Thank you. I'm the last person. We're almost done, I promise. In fall of 2020, we began to take a really close look at our communication tools and practices to figure out where we could improve those items. Quite honestly, we needed to catch up to districts of our size. We were a little bit behind. So the most notable, more visual items in that process was improving our digital tools, our website, our social media presence, newsletters, both internal and external, and some brand management processes. We also made sure to support our schools along the way as they implemented those things as well. And the visual aspects are great. We look a little bit more professional. We look like we're in the 21st century now. It's exciting. But what really was missing was students. We were focused on awards. We were focused on the top 10 lists of things, being the best of. And those are great things to be, and trust me, we will still put all of that out there. We're not gonna skip that. But if you go back and you look at communications in years past, it was really lacking a student-centered focus. So I think if you look forward, you'll start seeing more stories about our students, about our teachers, and what it means to educate kids day in and day out, because that's what we're here for. And even if we never make a top 10 list, which we hope we do, we're still showing up every day to work for kids. A couple of exciting changes, they're at least exciting in my world. We will launch a new communication system for our parents called Parent Square this year.
Again, it looks good, it works a little bit easier, that's all surface level. What's really at the core of this transition is creating engagement opportunities for our families. And not just creating the opportunity, but tracking which families are unengaged so that we can begin to reach out to them and bring them into our school communities a bit more. In case you haven't heard, we have construction coming up, or in progress rather, and redistricting later this year will be part of that process. These aren't everyone's favorite topics, they certainly aren't my favorite, but we will do the best we can to update our staff and our families on what this looks like as we go through the next year. And then the final thing that I think is really exciting, because we've never done this before, we are starting a community ambassador program this fall. Everything you're hearing about today is very high level, very big overview. It doesn't really get into the behind the scenes look at what it takes to educate 9,000 kids every day. That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of teaching and a lot of learning happening inside our buildings. So this ambassador program will be a 5-part, 5 different mornings throughout the fall. We'll have community members come in and take a really good behind-the-scenes look at Crown Point schools, become really engaged with the directors that you heard speak today, with the students and teachers in our building, and hopefully when you're done, you feel like you're an ambassador for Crown Point schools. I'm done, but I just really want to put a shout out to Heather and the Bulldog Bakery and the dog treats that our exceptional learners are making. There are some out on the front table, and they are not shelf stable. So please take them and please use them within 3 to 4 days.
So we are going to open it up for just a couple of questions, if they may be there. And while you're thinking of a question that you may have, we've got just a few minutes left. We told you we'd have you out of here by 9, and that's our goal. As I went through the introductions before, I introduced you to a lot of individuals, our board, our administrative team, and intentionally, I wanted you to see the presentation and then introduce you to what I feel is our greatest resource, and that is our human resource. We have several teachers here today. First, I'd like to introduce Denise Jansen. Where's Denise? Denise, if you could stand. Denise is the president of our Teachers Association. It's not very often that you have a superintendent who gets up and brags. Yes, give her a round of applause. That brags on our Teachers Association. But I feel like our partnership with them, we're in this together. There's a lot of outside entities that keep coming after and seems like at times are attacking public education, and our partnership is second to none, so thank you, Denise. We also have teachers here. Teachers that are here, if you could stand up as well. Any teachers in the room? Thank you. Appreciate you guys being here as well. Thank you. So as you can see, I've got an incredible team to work with, and I'm just thrilled and pleased and blessed every day to be here and be a part of Crown Point Schools. Every day when I drive into work, it still is a great place to be, and I'm thrilled every day I get to come and be a part of it. So with that being said, any questions that you guys have? If not, I'm going to stick around. We've got tours going on. Feel free to ask questions there. You've got email addresses. Let's thank Brooke for all of her work this morning. She did a fabulous job. Was there any burning questions before we dismiss that would be good for everybody? If not, thank you again. We appreciate you being here, your partnership, and have a great day. For those that are going on tours, please don't mind our dust, and hope you'll be excited about the things that are coming as well. So thank you again. Have a great day. It's a great day to be a Bulldog.